Now that Lilo & Stitch is now officially in theaters and has now become a big hit, I think it's time we took a look at all the Disney live-action remakes that we've had in the last 30-plus years. Yes, this isn't something that I'm not just going to include recent films. We're going to go all the way back to 1994 when this all began with the Stephen Sommers Jungle Book movie. And what we're going to do here is rank the Disney live-action remakes from worst to best. There are 25 live-action remakes I have on this list here, and I'm not including any live-action series adaptations, so we're not going to include any of the stuff from the 90s like Inspector Gadget or Mr. Magoo. We're going to take a look at the Disney live-action remakes and the sequels to the live-action remakes to their animated classics. 25 altogether, including the most recent release, Lilo & Stitch. And you're going to see the list here that I have here as we go along. And I'm going to make this quick because, of course, we've got 25 different reviews to look at here. So this will not be something hopefully this will not take long the way I'm doing this. But with all that said, let's rank the Disney live-action remakes from the worst to the best. Starting off at number 25, the absolute worst of the worst, Pinocchio. Directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Tom Hanks as Geppetto, Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Jiminy Cricket, and also features Cynthia Erivo as the Blue Fairy, Lorraine Bracco, Keegan-Michael Key, and directed by Robert Zemeckis. And this was one that really was the worst of the worst. And at times, there were times when the film actually does try and actually does kind of succeed, but it's a movie that is just the perfect definition of a film that is trying way too hard to be modernized for a new generation while trying to take a classic movie from the past. I mean, the pop culture references alone in this movie were torture enough. Chris Pine, we have to make a Chris Pine reference in Pinocchio, which makes no sense whatsoever. There are things I like about the movie. I like Tom Hanks as Geppetto. I thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt was pretty good as Jiminy Cricket. And I really like Cynthia Erivo as the Blue Fairy. But just all the other stuff in there just didn't work. I mean, yeah, there are times when the visuals can look nice, but then you get pointless characters. Like, why is Lorraine Bracco playing a seagull in this movie? Like, what's the point of having her as a character in this? It's not worth it. It's just not worth it at all. It's easily the worst Disney live-action remake I've seen. That's why it's at the bottom of the list. Number 24, Peter Pan and Wendy, directed by the same guy that directed Pete's Dragon, which got me excited at first, and then I saw the movie. I mean, I'll give it this, it was better than Pan, but then again, that was Pan, and this is Peter Pan and Wendy. The movie, I don't think, is all that bad in particular. I think it's just, I went in there with a lot of high expectations after what this guy did with Pete's Dragon, and we'll get to that one later on here, but just... yeah, it just didn't work. I mean, the casting overall is okay, I guess. The kids who play Peter Pan and Wendy are fine. Jude Law's Hook's okay, but the story does try to stand out on its own, but it just doesn't work in general. The visuals are also kind of a mixed bag, too. You can tell this was one that was supposed to go to Disney+, and really, we should be glad it did. I mean, it's like I said, it's not a bad movie, but it certainly is not the movie that it really could have been. I felt like there could have been so much more to it. Just such a major disappointment. Peter Pan and Wendy, number 24 on the list. Number 23, Mulan, the live-action remake by Disney that at times does have its promise to it. The visuals do look very nice, and the action overall can be okay overall, but the first 5 minutes is where the film really just loses you right away. Mulan's basically chasing a chicken around, and it really was one of those things where it's just like, it got really silly and really pointless very quickly. And then watching it again, like, I shut it off the first time after 5 minutes, but then watching it again, it's just passable. It's a movie that is trying. The actress overall that plays Mulan is okay. I thought Jason Scott Lee as the villain was not that great. The cinematography as a whole is very good, and the action sequences, like I've said, are nicely done. The script overall, it's another one of those movies that's clearly trying to not just rehash the original film, but the problem is the differences they try to throw in here just don't work. Like, what was the big selling point of the original Mulan? Eddie Murphy as Mushu, and not having Mushu in there, like, that's a big part of that movie taken out of the picture, and you can just tell once it gets taken out, it really does ruin the ebb and flow of the movie. and it just didn't work as a whole. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's a serviceable movie. It's got some nice visuals, a good cast, and some good action, but the script really is where the film really just falls off and just completely loses all signs of any hope at all. Not to mention, I paid $30 to watch this on Disney Plus back when COVID happened, and yeah, this is one of those ones that I immediately regret doing that. But Mulan, number 23 on the list. Number 22, Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, the sequel to the 2014 Maleficent movie, which we'll get to later on. It's set after 5 years after the first movie, where Maleficent faces the neighboring kingdom's manipulative perception of herself as a villain, in addition to a subplot about the rise of an endangered powerful fairy race, or of the Dark Fae. And this is made by the same people who made Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and also Kon-Tiki, and they're working on Tron Ares. It just didn't work as a whole. The movie overall wasn't bad, but it just feels really pointless. There was no reason to make a sequel to this except the fact that the first film was a gigantic hit. It made a ton of money, so we have to make a sequel to it, and I just really felt like they didn't have a good idea of what the story was going to be, or what's the reason why we're here. Like, what are we doing here? Except the fact that the first one made money, so we just got to go ahead and make the movie all over again. And it's just like, it just didn't work for me. Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, not a very good film. Number 21, Alice Through the Looking Glass. This is, of course, the sequel to Alice in Wonderland, directed by James Bond, who did the Muppets movies. Of course, Tim Burton didn't come back for this movie, and, you know, this is proof that not everything Disney made in 2016 was a good movie, and, you know, you don't need Tim Burton to make a really bad Alice in Wonderland movie, because, wow, this was bad. This was really bad. I mean, this was a movie that was the first one was trying to do something interesting and cool with it, and succeeded with the visuals overall, but here, again, this is another one of those sequels that nobody was asking to see again. Nobody wants to see Johnny Depp as the main focus of the Mad Hatter in this one. I mean, this is just not a very good movie. It's a film that is way too all over the place, tries to use time travel, and doesn't even know how to use it the right way. It just isn't a very good movie overall. It's a really lackluster film. Once again, like Maleficent, a pointless sequel because the first movie made a shit ton of money, so we gotta make a sequel. Not worth it. Alice Through the Looking Glass, number 21 on my list. Number 20, and this is one I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for putting this so down at the bottom of the list, but I'm sorry. Beauty and the Beast ain't that fucking good. I mean, this is a movie where it's not a bad movie. It's not a good movie either. There's just so many things about the film that... I'll start with the positives. It looks visually gorgeous. I mean, this is Bill Condon who did Dreamgirls doing this, and he does a pretty good job with the direction here. The production design and costume work overall is really good. The cast overall is good. Emma Watson is nicely cast as Belle. She does fit the role well. I like Dan Stevens as the Beast. I like the Luke Evans as Gaston. Josh Gad as LeFou is actually pretty good. You got a cast that also includes Kevin Kline, Ewan McGregor, Ian McKellen, Emma Thompson, Audra McDonald, Stanley Tucci. They're all pretty fun in here. The CG overall is really good, and most of the music overall is good, even though there is definitely a lot of auto-tuning in this for Emma Watson. Like if you can't get her to sing, hire somebody who can sing then. Don't do this auto-tune BS that you did in this film. And the songs in here are really good, but unfortunately the rest of the movie just doesn't work. The opening sequence has way too many points where it feels like this movie is dumbing it down for the audience when it doesn't need to. Like, there's so many points in the first part of this movie where it's just like, hey, you get it? Here's some foreshadowing for you. And it gets so annoying so quickly. And like I said, auto-tune Emma Watson singing was absolutely awful. And, you know, the new additions they make here don't make a whole lot of sense. Again, this is another one that deals with time traveling, this time with this book element, and it's just like, this does not make any sense whatsoever and has no purpose to the story whatsoever. And there's parts in the movie where they throw in these throwaway lines, like, you know, why is it snowing in the middle of June? Like, the original film's timeline never mattered. I mean, you never knew if it was taking place over the course of a year or years or something like that. But in this movie, it's just like, no, this is all happening at one point in time. Let's just say that it's in June. It's just like, it revealing more of the mystery of the curse in Beauty and the Beast takes away a lot of the suspense and the excitement. And, you know, the movie really just is the worst part about this movie to me. The one that sticks out to me is the worst thing is that there's really a lot of bad there's a really bad gross out humor scene with a dog pissing at the end. This is the scene where everybody's turning back into human. It's supposed to be this great moment. It's a great moment in the original movie, and yet some jackass at Disney said, "You know what this is missing? A dog peeing." Because the kids like it. It's just like, yeah, the kids were laughing when I saw it, and it's just like, that made me so mad. It's a cheap, childish joke to get a gross-out joke in there, but it's completely inappropriate to put that in the middle of the biggest emotional moment of the movie. And, to me, that's just so many different things that are so wrong with this movie. That's why it's at the bottom of this list here. I mean, this is a bad movie. It's way too long. Beauty and the Beast, I know I'm going to be in the minority on this one, but yeah, it's definitely one of the lesser Disney live action remakes, sorry. But anyway, number 19, 102 Dalmatians. This is, of course, the sequel to the 1996 101 Dalmatians, starring Glenn Close. We've got it back here as Cruella de Vil. And yeah, talk about a movie, another one of these sequels that was only made because the first movie was such a success. And let's not put any effort into the storyline here whatsoever. And the sequel does not do anything that great or unique to distance itself from the original movie, with a couple of exceptions. I like the idea of a Dalmatian that doesn't have the spots on him. That's a fun concept overall. But other than that, though, despite Glenn Close doing the best she can to save the movie, it's not enough to save it overall. And luckily, this director, Kevin Lima, has gone on to direct other things of noteworthiness, like Enchanted. But this was a rough movie. 102 Dalmatians, number 19 on the list. Number 18, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. This is, of course, based off of the Fantasia segment starring Mickey Mouse. This time around, they've created an original story around it, where you have Nicolas Cage, one of Merlin's 3 apprentices, training a young college student, played by Jay Baruchel, to become a sorcerer after Nicolas Cage's long search for the Prime Merillion. And there's an evil villain played by Alfred Molina, who gets involved with a character played by Monica Bellucci, and also Alice Kree from Star Trek First Contact. It's a movie that is just okay, I guess. I mean, it's not the worst, and I give it credit for doing something a little bit different overall. I mean, there's a lot of things about the film that do work, but then there are things that just really don't work. Toby Kebbell playing Drake Stone just got on my nerves so fast. He was so annoying on the same level of Rick Mayall or Drop Dead Fred. He was that bad. Sometimes the visuals can look great, others not so much. You've got a scene it's great when stuff like the bird that Cage rides on is pretty cool, but then when they do stuff like the dragon that attacks Chinatown, like that looked terrible. The homage to the brooms that they used from the Fantasia short was actually pretty good, but I mean, it's fine for what it is. Not a great movie, but not a bad movie either. I'll give it credit for being something kind of entertaining. It's a fun movie overall. I saw it in the summertime. It was a good, fun film. Sorcerer's Apprentice, number 18 on the list. Number 17, Dumbo. Tim Burton directed this one. And this one was just another one of those movies that's just kind of like a mixed bag overall. I know what I like and I know what I hate, and I didn't hate it. But there's definitely a lot of things I like about the movie. Dumbo is a great-looking character. The visuals overall are really great. You can see when he's on screen, the magic is there. They do a fantastic job of bringing the title character to life. The visuals overall are really cool. And for Tim Burton, this is really more restrained when it comes to using the visual style. It's very restrained when it comes to the visual style that's placed here. You're not getting that typical gothic and bleak visual style that you get from a lot of Burton movies. And you do get more of a more crisper and clearer visual feel than you would see from him. The performances overall are really good. Colin Farrell, Danny DeVito, Ava Green, Michael Keaton, Alan Arkin is very fun in here. He has one of the best lines in the movie at the end. Just the way he says the line, "This is a disaster," made me laugh really hard. And I'll give the script credit. It tried to do something different, not just rehashing the original Dumbo story, giving it a new story. And I thought that was pretty cool. But then, again, like with a lot of these movies, it's a script that's pretty bland and forgettable. It's mostly because of the writer, Aaron Kruger. And it really does feel like a cluttered mess of a film. And the performances overall, I mean, Michael Keaton isn't great in the movie. I said he was great before, but he's really not as strong as I thought he was. He was kind of the big disappointment of the film for me, because it's Michael Keaton. It's Tim Burton reunited with him for the first time since Batman Returns. And he's just a cookie-cutter movie bad guy villain. No charisma, no charm. He's just kind of a generic character. And it's just like... But the worst one by far is the kids in the movie. They are terrible. Nico Parker, who has thankfully gone on to become a much better actress than this movie. I mean, she was just... like I never this is like with the dog pissing scene in Beauty and the Beast. I'll never forget whenever her performance in this movie, because she just says, "I want to work in science, like not be a scientist, but just work in science in general." And like like they don't even say scientists in this, and just like the kids overall are just not that good. There's like a bunch of pointless characters in here. Like, there's an elephant wrangler who just decides to become an asshole for the sake of being an asshole, kind of like The Greatest Showman. But there's a lot of cringeworthy stuff in here. You got Michael Buffer in here playing the ringmaster, which makes no sense whatsoever. And of course he does the "let's get ready to rumble" line, but let's change it to "let's get ready for Dumbo." And it's just like, fuck off with that. I mean, it's fine, I guess. It actually made for a better movie than I think a lot of people were expecting it to do, but yeah, the script writing overall just wasn't the right choice for this. And Tim Burton, I guess, really wasn't the best choice either. It's passable, but it's a heavily flawed movie. So number 17 on my list. Number 16, Disney's The Jungle Book. Not the Jon Favreau one. This is the one from 1994. The first official live-action remake of a Disney classic, this time directed by Stephen Sommers, and starring Jason Scott Lee in the role of Mowgli. And in this movie, this is a movie that is mostly focusing on the plotline of the second Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. And the animal characters in this movie do not talk. And it was one of those movies where it was one of Stephen Sommers' early films. You have a cast that also includes Carrie Elways, Lena Headey, Sam Neill, and John Cleese among the cast in here. It's a decent film. It was a movie that I didn't really see when I was a kid growing up. It was one I caught very late on in life. And for the most part, it's fine. Nothing too spectacular about it, nothing too amazing, but it is what it is. And, this was new territory for Disney. They didn't really do this type of stuff before, so it made it kind of interesting to see how they would do this. And overall, not a bad job at all. Could have been a whole lot better, but as it is, serviceable enough. So that's The Jungle Book at number 16. Number 15, Alice in Wonderland. Tim Burton, of course, directed this one, as I said before, and it focuses on Alice, who's now 19 years old, returning to the world of Underland, where she visited when she was 13, and she's told that she's the only one that can slay the Jabberwocky, a dragon controlled by the Red Queen. The Red Queen played by Helena Bonham Carter. You also have a cast that includes Johnny Depp as the Mad Hatter, Anne Hathaway as the White Queen, the Cheshire Cat, played by Stephen Fry. There's the characters played by Crispin Glover, too. Overall, it could be a ton of fun for what it is. I saw this in 3D, and I thought the 3D overall was good. Didn't think it was great overall, but I thought it was good in general. And the film overall is fine for what it is. I think the real highlights of the film are Alice, played by Wasikowski, Mad Hatter, White Queen, and the Cheshire Cat. I thought the Cheshire Cat overall was really the coolest part of the movie. When seeing that in 3D, I love the fact that he's the one character I really liked a lot. So calm, so strange, and so great looking in 3D. I mean, he's the one thing that really holds the film together overall. But other than that, though, it's serviceable enough. Nothing too spectacular, nothing too amazing about it, but it is what it is. I mean, like I said, it's better than Through the Looking Glass, but then again, it's not really saying a whole lot in general. Number 14, Maleficent. One of the first ones where Disney was trying to do something different, where you have a movie focusing on one of Disney's definitive villains, and we got to make her kind of like the hero in this. And overall, I thought they did a good job with it overall. I thought it was an overall enjoyable movie. Angelina Jolie, I think, steals the show as Maleficent. And you have a cast that also includes some good performances by Ellie Fanning as Aurora. And, other characters like Sam Riley's Duval and Sharlto Copley's King Stefan were kind of useless in here. The three fairies in here were really, really annoying as hell, and really, they don't serve much of a purpose in the story. They're supposed to be watching Aurora for 16 years, and they say nothing like that after that. They show Aurora as a little child, almost falling off a cliff. Maleficent is the one who's actually doing more work than they are. I mean, the three fairies are the most memorable thing from the original Sleeping Beauty movie, next to Maleficent. So how could you screw that up and make them completely useless whatsoever? I mean, I get it. You gotta make it seem like Maleficent cares more about the child in general. So when they meet later on in life, they gotta have a connection. And I mean, I'm glad it doesn't fall into the way that the Alice in Wonderland fell into. It does keep the overall story in its time period. It doesn't have stupid breakdancing sequences or other pop culture references. Like, this is written by the same person who wrote the Alice in Wonderland remake by Tim Burton, but she also wrote Beauty and the Beast, and this felt more like the original Beauty and the Beast, Linda Woolverton, than the Linda Woolverton who wrote Alice in Wonderland. Visuals overall look good. I mean, I liked it. It was kind of reminded me a lot of Oz the Great and Powerful than Alice in Wonderland overall. Good film. Not really one I usually want to go back and watch overall. I honestly haven't seen it in a long, long time, so I don't know if it actually does hold up. But I do remember liking it, so it's number 14 on my list. Number 13, Snow White. We're picking up a recent movie here on this list here. And yeah, I like this movie much more than a lot of people did. I mean, most people really didn't like it. But I will say this, though. The film overall is about what you expect it to be. It is kind of a mixed bag of a movie. I will tell you this now. CG dwarfs, it was not the way to go. That's like nightmare fuel. I mean, I can't argue with those people there that say that the dwarves look terrible. I agree. The dwarves look absolutely awful here. But other than that, though, again, they did a pretty good job of trying to update the story a little bit. And Rachel Zegler really was the star of the show. She was very good as Snow White. The girl once again proved she's got the chops to sing. And Gal Gadot overall, I thought was passable as the Evil Queen. Nothing too amazing, nothing too spectacular, but I definitely think it was a whole lot better than most people made it out to be. It was not a bad movie, but not a great movie either. Just, I thought it was okay for what it was. Snow White, that's why it's in the middle of this list. Number 13. Number 12, The Lion King, directed by Jon Favreau. And yeah, this is one of those movies where, it's another one of those movies that a lot of people trash on. Some call it one of the biggest Disney disasters of all time. You're wrong on that front, because I can think of several other Disney disasters besides these live-action remakes. Like, I went into this movie hearing the bad word of mouth, so I went into it, and I just thought it was alright. It wasn't a bad movie overall. There are definitely a lot of notable flaws to it. I mean, honestly, it's a by-the-numbers remake of the original film, which is fine and all, but the biggest flaw of it to me was the fact that the facial expressions were nowhere to be found. And when you have a movie that has performances by Donald Glover, Beyonce Knowles, Chiwetel Ejiofor, James Earl Jones, Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner, Keegan-Michael Key, Eric Andre, John Oliver, you gotta make sure those faces match up to those performances. I swear, that's the worst thing about this movie. The expressions in here are absolutely god awful, and I mean, it's like I said, it's a shot-for-shot by-the-numbers remake, which is fine, but you know, it's not a movie that really does anything that different. It just basically just redoes the same thing over and over again. The biggest one, the performances overall, like, are kind of just bland in general. Like, Chiwetel Ejiofor was very underwhelming as Scar, and Donald Glover was a huge disappointment as Simba. Like, I expected a whole lot better from those two guys. I mean, I really thought that they were going to be great in this, but they really were not. They paled in comparison to Jeremy Irons and Matthew Broderick, which is unbelievable to think about. And it's amazing how Beyonce Knowles was one of the few that actually did kind of hold up here a lot. I mean, this is a movie that is very pointless. It doesn't need to exist. It's a shot-for-shot remake of the original, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. It was cool seeing it on the big screen. The visuals really are its selling points, but I mean, it's a very much a mixed bag movie. It's not one of the worst Disney live-action remakes ever. It's a pointless remake, but I've seen much worse. I mean, I've seen a whole lot worse, and this is definitely one of those ones that's going to be the most criticized once this comes out. I can already tell, But speaking of The Lion King, number 11 on the list is Mufasa: The Lion King, which just came out recently, and it is definitely a huge improvement over the original Lion King. For one thing, the animals actually have real emotions on their face, finally! And also, you can never go wrong with some music by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I mean, you can never go wrong with that. Plus, it just felt like more effort was being put into it. They got the director of Moonlight, which of course won Best Picture, Barry Jenkins. Jeff Nathanson wrote the script. And it was a very interesting idea, showing us the origin stories of the characters of Mufasa, and, you know, meeting these other lions, and basically the story of how he and Taka came together. Aaron Pierre and Kelvin Harrison Jr. did a very good job in those roles. Everybody else does a pretty good job here. Donald Glover was a whole lot better in this one, so was Beyonce Knowles as Nala. They even throw in a lot of elements from the other Lion King sequels. You see a little bit of Lion King 1.5. You see a little bit of Lion King 2 Simba's Pride. I mean, it's cool seeing all those elements being thrown into this one movie, and like I said, it's definitely a vast improvement over the other movie. A good, definitely much better movie overall. One that I would say is definitely worth a watch. Mufasa the Lion King, number 11 on the list. Entering the top 10, number 10 on the list, I have The Little Mermaid, which stars Halle Bailey as Ariel and also stars Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, and a cast that also includes Javier Bardem, Daveed Diggs, Awkwafina, Jacob Tremblay. Directed by Rob Marshall, who did Chicago, and written by David McGee, who wrote Life of Pi. And overall, a really good movie. A movie where really, the moment you hear Halle Bailey singing Part of Your World for the first time, is a year before the movie came out, you knew that she was going to be the best thing about the movie. Kind of like with Rachel Zegler in Snow White. Like, just good casting on her part there. The one I was really questioning was Melissa McCarthy as Ursula, and I was actually really surprised at how good she was in this. She actually did put a lot of her all into this movie in particular. This is one of those ones that definitely has a lot of CG problems. I mean, Sebastian and Flounder, good lord. The designs were just so terrible. And it's a shame because Daveed Diggs and Jacob Tremblay are doing the voices. They're great actors. And I like the guy who plays Eric in this, Jonah Hauer-King, who actually has some nice chemistry with Halle Bailey overall. It's a good movie. It's a good movie overall. It's an enjoyable film. Definitely has a lot of flaws, especially with the visuals. But overall, yeah, it's a really good movie. Definitely one of the stronger adaptations. Number 9, Lady and the Tramp, one of the first Disney Plus releases when the streamer came out in November of 2019, and in a year where you had a lot of live action adaptations of Disney animated movies, this one actually turned out to be the best of the bunch. Once again, doesn't do anything too groundbreaking or innovative, but it does play it safe and true to the original film, and the casting overall is really good. I like the chemistry between Tessa Thompson and Justin Theroux as both Lady and the Tramp. I thought Sam Elliott was really good as Trusty. A cast also includes Ashley Jensen, Benedict Wong, Janelle Monáe, Clancy Brown, Kirstie Clemens and Thomas Mann, Yvette Nicole Brown. There was a lot of really good fun stuff in here. The visuals overall are very good for the most part. Sometimes it can be mostly of a mixed bag in general, but considering that Noelle came out in the same time, the CG in that looked terrible, and this one definitely looks better by comparison. I mean, definitely a very solid adaptation that mostly gets overlooked, mostly because it went straight to Disney Plus when the streamer came out, and most people really kind of forgot about it. But it's definitely one of the better ones, easily. I thought there was a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's a really good movie. It should still be available on Disney Plus. It's one you should definitely check out. Coming in at number 8, we have Disney's Aladdin, which, of course, the biggest star of that movie is Will Smith as the genie, who really does steal the show. I mean, he really is very good in here, and he's mainly good because he's not being asked to top Robin Williams, and you can never really do that. They're not asking him to be Robin Williams all over again. They're making the genie his own thing, and he does stand out. He really is the strongest part of this movie. And yeah, the CG can look iffy at times, but I like what they did with Will Smith in here in general. I think the casting overall was good. Manal Masad playing Aladdin and Naomi Scott were nicely done as Jasmine. But man, I'll tell you what, Marwan Kenzari playing Jafar, that was... How do you take one of the coolest Disney villains of all time and just turn him into the most blandest villain possible? I mean, this guy sucks. Like, he is easily the worst thing about this movie. I mean, he really is somebody that just... he gets on your nerves so quickly. And there's just scenes where, there's scenes where there are just pointless additions here. Like, there's a great song in the movie that they throw in there, and it really doesn't do a whole lot. They don't really do a whole lot with it. Like, it's a great song, but just the placement of it is just such a bad spot for it. Like, it's supposed to be during this big scene, and then it's immediately completely forgotten about when Jafar realizes that, okay, then I'll just be a god then, pretty much that. And the climax is one of the worst things ever. I mean, this is just... Like, remember the animated film's climax where Jafar started using his sorcerer powers to turn like Raja into a cat, take the magic carpet, turn into a string, turn Abu into a toy monkey, become a snake and all that? You know what he does here in this movie? Freezes everybody. And he becomes a bird, and there's a giant bird that goes after Aladdin, and he turns into like this big guy with his It's like something out of 300, like his shirt is out and all that type of stuff. And it's just like, where's the fun in that, man? Where is the fun in all of that? And it's just like, yeah, this is really pointless stuff altogether. It's just like, it never really goes anywhere. And yeah, there are a lot of flaws to it, but this is definitely one of the stronger versions of one of the stronger remakes of a Disney animated classic, mostly because of Will Smith as the genie. I thought he was the strongest part of it, but a lot of good stuff overall in it. But yeah, definitely a lot of notable flaws in it too. So that's Aladdin, number 8 on the list. Number 7, Cruella. And I'll tell you this much. This is a movie that has definitely aged well with me over time. This is a movie where the first time I saw it, I just thought it was okay. But watching it in the years since then, I mean, I got to give it credit for going out and doing something completely insane and crazy. I mean, this is pretty much Disney's equivalent to Joker. This is one that has a PG-13 rating, so you know they're going for that type of insanity, and it does get there. Like, the opening alone had me laughing like crazy when Dalmatians end up killing Cruella's mother by pushing her off of a cliff, and it's just the way that this looks is so terrible and so put together. This thing cost $200 million, and it looks that bad, but like, the film, once it gets going, is really good. Emma Stone, I think, really delivers a strong performance as Cruella. Emma Thompson's very good playing the Baroness. You got great performances by Joel Fry and Paul Walter Hauser as Jasper and Horace. Mark Strong's very good here. I mean, this is a really solid film, and one that's not afraid to go insane, over the top, dark when it needs to. Even if it has a third act that does kind of stumble big time. I mean, this is a movie where it definitely is one that really does takes time to get really going here. And it's a movie that really is one of the better live action remakes, the one that just says, let's go crazy with it, and it does pretty well for the most part. Not working entirely, but it is fun to watch overall. Cruella, number 7 on the list. Number 6, why not put this one in there? Just came out just a couple days ago. Lilo and Stitch. I was really thinking about putting it in the top 5, but I had to think to myself, do I like this one more than my top 5 overall? Probably not. I mean, it's close between number 6 and number 5, but I really like what they did with Lilo and Stitch for the most part. Once again, like with all the other ones, definitely some changes that I don't really agree with. Making Jumba the villain, that I don't think was a strong idea, and getting rid of Gantu altogether. But I get why they did it. But I think they had a good director in Dean Fleischer-Camp who knew what he was doing. This is the guy that directed Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. I thought he did a very good job with this. Of course, you can't go wrong with Stitch. He's absolutely a fun Disney character. I mean, he's a universally appealing character. He can relate to everybody, just boys, girls in general. And I like Lilo in here. I thought Lilo was very good here. The casting overall on everybody was very good. I like all the casting all around. I like the fact that they brought in original members of the cast to play characters in here. Like, hearing the original Nani, Tia Carrera, talking to the new Nani as this social worker, kind of replacing Cobra Bubbles, I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really interesting to see their scenes together. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in this movie. There's definitely a lot of flawed stuff too, but overall, it's definitely one of the better live-action remakes, and this is one where it's just like, yeah, these movies are completely unnecessary, but I'm not going to complain about this one overall. I did enjoy this a lot, and certainly I enjoy this a lot more than most people online are giving it credit for, but Lilo and Stitch, number 6 on the list. Alright, here we go, folks. The top 5. Number 5, we have Christopher Robin. An adult Christopher Robin, now played by Ewan McGregor, grows up, and he suddenly doesn't use his friend from the 100-Acre Wood, but they find him, and he's got to find his childhood again, and they go on this adventure. And this was a movie that was actually really damn good. Ewan McGregor really sold it as Christopher Robin. It's great to hear Jim Cummings back as the voice of Pooh and Tigger. I mean, the guy really has made that character his own. The rest of the voice cast overall is fine, I guess, and there's definitely a lot of moments in here that take a lot from Hook and Elf, but overall, it does a good job of making it stand out on its own. And if there's one big moment in the movie that I thought really, that's the one part of the movie that I really don't like, is the way it kind of ends. Like, there's a whole thing where Christopher Robin has to figure out the problem with the company that he has, and the fact that they work for like they work for like a suitcase company, and Christopher Robin basically comes to the realization is that basically people need to go on vacation. Is people that aren't using luggage because they're not going on vacations enough, and it's just kind of like the plan to fix the company is to reduce the price of luggage, give employees paid time off, and sell their luggage to everyday people. It's just like they weren't doing that all along, really, and it's just like, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And this was in a summer we had some really, really bad endings. Like, the girl, like the little girl being told she was a clone on a throwaway line from Fallen Kingdom, or Macarena being the song that defeats the bad guy in Hotel Transylvania 3. But this was maybe the most stupidest resolution I saw in a movie that summer. And yeah, it's a movie where the ending, I still have a lot of really big problems with it overall, but it doesn't take away from the overall enjoyment of the film. I still think the first good, about maybe 90% of the movie overall is still really good, and definitely is worth the watch. Christopher Robin, number 5 on the list. Number 4, Pete's Dragon. And as I said before, this is the movie that got me excited to see what this guy could do with Peter Pan and Wendy. And of course that didn't work, but I really like this movie a lot. I think they had a really good idea of, I thought they had a really good idea of making the film stand out on its own. It's definitely not the original film, but it doesn't go for the over-the-top flair like the original film did. The casting overall was really good. You got John Kaiser playing the role of Pete. Charlie Callis was really good as Elliot. You do buy their chemistry overall. And Bryce Dallas Howard was also really good here too. Wes Bentley and Carl Urban are very good here too. Robert Redford as Fegley's pretty good. It's a really solid movie overall. I think it is a very entertaining film. I think it was one where they do take a lot of chances with it. The ending is a little bit too happy for its own good, but at the same time, I get why they kind of did it, but it's just kind of like, again, kind of like with Christopher Robin, just kind of like, there really could have been a better ending than the one you put here, but yeah, overall, this is a pretty solid film. It's definitely one of the stronger live-action remakes. It's one that's kind of been overlooked, too. It wasn't really a big blockbuster when it came out, but it was a decent hit overall back then, but it's been largely forgotten. It's one you should definitely check out. Pete's Dragon, number 4. Number 3, The Jungle Book, the 2016 version, and this really is a really damn good movie. I think this one really is very enjoyable to watch. This is what Jon Favreau should have done with The Lion King. I thought he did a very good job with the direction of this. The acting overall is top-notch. Ben Kingsley, great as Bagheera, Bill Murray as Baloo, Christopher Walken as King Louie, Scarlett Johansson as Kaa, Idris Elba playing Shere Khan. I mean, just a ton of really good members in this cast here in general. The visuals are incredible to look at. I mean, this is a movie that was shot on a soundstage in LA, which sounds ridiculous, but I mean, it just shows you what the power of CG can do if it's done right. It really did feel like that. It reminded me of Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, which coincidentally, by the time this comes out, it'll be coming out on Blu-ray tomorrow on Shout Factory. But it felt like they were trying to do that with that that was 12 years a little bit too soon. This is a movie that I think perfected those visual effects in general. The CG overall was top notch. Mowgli was pretty good. Neil Sethi does a very good job as that character. It's a really solid movie. It is definitely one of the better live action remakes overall, and it's just such a good fun time all across the board. Jungle Book, number 3 on the list. Number 2, 101 Dalmatians, starring Glenn Close, written by John Hughes, directed by Stephen Herrick from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. And this is a really good movie. It's a really good modern retelling of the story of 101 Dalmatians. I mean, they brought the story into the 90s. They include the Home Alone style gags, which can be a little distracting at times. And even the third act does have a couple of CG effects I didn't think were aged all that well, but this is a really good movie. This is a really impressive film that they were able to do to adapt the story for a modern setting, and I thought they did a pretty good job with it overall. It's a really good movie. Like, it's definitely one of the stronger ones. I'm very much high up there with the best live-action remakes out there, but it's not the best one overall. That is the number 1 movie that we have coming up here. The number 1 best live-action Disney remake of all time, according to me, is Disney's Cinderella. Kenneth Branagh directed this one. Features Cate Blanchett as Lady Tremaine, Lily James playing Cinderella. Just a terrific adaptation. I mean, this is a great movie where just the performances alone make it worth it. Lily James as Cinderella is just such... When I think of the perfect Cinderella, live-action Cinderella, this is the one I think of right here, because this movie is... She is so good in this. Like, this is the movie that... This movie that made me realize how great of an actress she really is. I mean, she steals the show. When she's on screen, the movie just stops dead in its track, and just, you can't take your eyes off her. She is such a charismatic, likable person in here. She's a beautiful-looking woman, and she fits that dress really well that she wears when she goes to the ball. And I mean, everybody in the movie overall does a very good job of modernizing the story, giving the character of Prince Eric in here more of a bigger character to work with here. I mean, this is not Prince Eric, he doesn't even no. The prince doesn't even have a name in the original Cinderella, if I'm not mistaken. But here he's Kit, played by Richard Madden from Game of Thrones, and I like the fact that he has more to do in this movie than he did in any other Cinderella movies in general. Like, it's an overall really good movie. I like the fact that they did a very good job of updating the story, making the necessary changes that it needed to make, and you had Kenneth Branagh basically coming in there and doing a lot of the things that this film really needed to do to make it stand out and be something unique and entertaining. The visual look of the movie is fantastic. The casting overall is really good. This is definitely what I think of when I think of the best overall live-action Disney remake, and why I want to see more movies like this be made when it comes to doing live-action remakes. It's like, here's the thing that most people need to realize about the live-action remakes, the people that keep just trashing them and all that type of stuff. Here's the most important thing about the live-action remakes. They're basically cover songs. That's all they really are. They're trying to appease the current generation, and Disney isn't never going to take the originals away from you. They're not going to they're not sticking them back in the Disney vault to never be seen again. You're going to be able to get those classics out there. This is for a new generation of kids out there to go and see these movies and be entertained by it, just like we grew up with it with the original animated movies. I mean, you see people going to Disney World every single day and being impressed by all the Disney characters coming out there and seeing them for a new generation. Even the people that star in these movies get involved with stuff at Disney World and Disneyland. Like, they're basically cover songs. They're not there to appease you. They're there to appease the current kid generation that's out there right now. And like I said, they're never going to take the originals away from you, no matter what you think they're going to do. They're still out there, and they shouldn't be just considered all garbage just because they're remakes of far superior movies. I agree. Nothing will ever top the originals for these movies, but most of these films in general were not the worst. If I had to pick the absolute worst ones of the bunch, it's definitely the ones that I mentioned at the bottom here. Pinocchio, Peter Pan and Wendy, Mulan, Alice in the Looking Glass, Maleficent, Beauty and the Beast, 102 Dalmatians. Like, those ones are the worst of the worst. Those are the ones that they are just unbearable to watch in general. But all the other ones, I think, are passable. None of the ones above 19 are terrible, but there are definitely much better movies than I think a lot of people let on. I think this is where you just gotta open your heart into it, open up your mindset overall, and just go in there, watch the movies, and actually give them a fair day in court. It's like what Roger Ebert used to say: you have to give a movie its day in court. You can't just be going in there ready to hate it. You have to give it a fair shot. And to me, that's what I've been doing ever since these have come out, and this is my definitive list that we have right now. But that being said, I'm definitely not looking forward to what they'll do with Moana next summer, but I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not going to go in there ready to hate it. I'm giving it a chance to defend it. And we'll see what happens there. But with all that said, I hope you enjoyed this list here, and I hope I can't wait to read your comments about me talking about how could you put this there? How could you put The Lion King that high? It's just like, I look forward to that in particular. But hey, if you want to hear me talk about a really damn good kids film that came out last year that you might have completely forgotten about, take a look at my video on If 1 Year Later, and check out the playlist below, and I'll see you guys next time. So thanks for watching this. Like I said, I'll see you next time. Take care.